All right, welcome back. So we're going to talk about negative exponent property, which basically for any integer where, again, a doesn't equal 0, if we have, or in any integers a and m, and a can't equal 0, a to the negative m is equal to 1 over a to the m, or 1 over a to the negative m is equal to a to the m. So basically what this is if you have a negative exponent, it has to go into the opposite position. So I call the top the attic and the bottom okay, we know it's the numerator and the denominator, but I use the analogy that if you are being bad, negative normally means bad. If you're being bad in the attic, then you have to move to the basement. And if you're being bad in the basement, then you move to the attic. It's kind of that thought that when you are fighting with a sibling or something, you have to go to your room. That's what this is. So like if I have 1 over 2 to the negative 5, the 2's in the basement, right? So I've got to move it to the attic. I got to move it up. So it'll become 2 to the positive 5th power. And if I was able to use the division property, I could show you why that works using that division property. But really it just comes down to it. If it's negative, move it. If it's in the bottom, move it to the, if it's in the denominator, move it to the numerator. If it's in the numerator, move it to the denominator. As simple as that. Just don't let it fool you that if you're working with something like 4 to the negative 2, it needs to have a 1 over it. 1 over 4 to the 2nd power. And I want to reiterate, this does not become negative 16. Because this is telling us that we're repeating it negative 2 times, right? When you think about it, exponents is how many times we repeat the multiplication. Well, this is saying, no, you need to go back 2 more iterations, which would make it a fraction. So, like I said, when we get to the division, that can make more sense. Let's get some practice in, though. Here we have 9 to the negative 2. If it helps, put this over 1. So you are in the top. So now we need to make it 1 over 9 squared. Over here we have 4 to the negative 3. So we're going to put it over 1. Since it's in the numerator, I need to move it to the denominator. So we're going to end up with 1 over 4 to the positive 3. That's it. That's how we flip-flop it. All right, so when we're looking at these slightly harder problems, I want to point out, again, this b is the only thing to the negative. So the 5 and the a cubed are going to stay in the top. The b will move to the bottom. And that will be our final answer. So all of this is in the numerator. Now in this one, we're in the denominator. So we need to move it to, and if we need to write a fraction for the first time, go for it, to the numerator. So this becomes just x to the 5th. It really is as simple as that. So it has us doing one more thing. What is the value of 3s cubed t to the negative 2 when s is 2 and t is negative 3? All right, so we have 3, s is 2, so 2 cubed times, and then t is going to be negative 3 to the negative 2. All right, so for now, let's just simplify. We've got 3 times 2 cubed is 8. And then I'm going to go ahead and move this so I have a positive exponent. Negative 3 squared, and that moves to the denominator. From here, we have 3 times 8, which is 24, over, and then 3 squared is 9. Negative 3 squared is positive 9. And then we simplify this. So this would become, 3 goes into both. So we end up with 8 over 3. And that is our final answer. So even though I had negatives, I just had to be careful. This negative in the exponent moved this power here to the bottom, and then because it's squared, that takes away the other negative. If you're wondering, well, what happened to all the negatives? They didn't drop out. They were multiplied out, okay? And that's, I believe, yep, that was the last one. So we've done zero exponents. Anything to zero power is 1. And negative exponents, if it's negative in the numerator, move it to the denominator. Negative in the denominator, move it to the numerator. Or whatever other method you want to remember that by. So until next time, 8th graders, stay classy.